Once you have at least 50 responses in your survey, click on Responses and then click on this little symbol which creates an Excel spreadsheet. It will probably ask you to give it a name. You can just say whatever name and then click on Create. It will be, I believe, up here in the right-hand corner. Then once you get your spreadsheet, just click anywhere on the spreadsheet. Just click anywhere on the spreadsheet and hold down the Control key and hit the A key and let go. And that will copy everything. Then hold down the Control key and hit the C key. And the Control A highlights everything and the Control C copies everything. So copy everything and then go ahead and start SPSS. And you want a new data set here. Once your SPSS comes up, come on. And you want to create a new data set. So here we have a new blank data set. We want to be in the data view. Click on the first cell and hold down the Control key and click on the V key. And that will paste everything you just copied. You notice that we have var 1, var 2, var 3. We need to give these variables names. The first one is the timestamp. We don't care about that one. So we can right-click on var 1 and we can say clear, and that will get rid of that variable. var 2 is age, and you can look at your code book to get these variable names. In my case, this variable is race or ethnicity. I'm going to just call it race because it's simple. This one is gender, so I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to call this one gender. Oops. And so on and so forth. So you need to change all your variable names. So you have the name of the variables right here, but refer to your code book in order to give your variables their variable names. Remember that variable names should be fairly short, probably no longer than maybe 15 or 20 characters. You don't even need it to be that long. And no special characters, no spaces or anything like that can go in there. Okay? So 7 is religion. I'm not going to do it anymore. But go ahead and give them all their names. The next thing you need to do once you've given them all their names is anything, once you've given them all your names, you can get rid of this row. So right-click on one and clear, and you'll get rid of those header rows. Age is already numbers. Number of children, which I had over here somewhere. This is number of children right here. They're already numbers. If they're numbers, you're not going to touch them. You don't do anything to them, okay? But if they're words like this, and in 50 I might have, 12 Asian or Pacific Islanders or whatever. So I want to copy Asian or Pacific Islander, and if I highlight it and do Control C for copy, I can replace this using my code book. And I can replace it by hitting Control F or by clicking on those binoculars there. It gives me the same thing. And there's a find and replace, and I want find and replace. So I'm going to find, and I'm going to paste with Control V, Asian or Pacific Islander. And then I'm going to replace that with a 1 because in my code book, Asian or Pacific Islander is coded as a 1. And I'm going to hit replace all, and it's going to replace all of them. Then I'm going to go to this next one, and I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to paste it in here. And in my code book, it says this is a 2. So I'm going to say replace all. And I'm going to go through and do all of those. I'm going to do the same thing here for female, male, and non-binary. And of course, I can resize these so I can get more on a page. They don't need to be that big, since they're all going to end up with numbers in the end. Once I get to all of these, right, are pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory. Copy them, replace them. Got a bunch of religions. I got high school. Here's my number of children. Now here is where I want you to be very careful on these agreement questions. If I copied and replaced agree with it's number 4 in my code book. Strongly agree is 4, sorry, agree is 3, disagree is 2, and strongly disagree is 1. If I said, well, replace all the agrees with a 3, this would appear as dis 3. And this would appear as strongly space dis 3. I don't want that. So I need to do the stronglys first. So I need to do the strongly disagree. Copy that. Replace strongly disagree. Sorry, replace strongly disagree. And strongly disagree is a 1 in my code book. Replace all of those. Then I could go to disagree. Oops. Oops. And for me, disagree is a 2. And replace all of those. And then I would go to all the strongly agrees as a 4. And then I would end up with the agrees as a 3. So make sure, oh, sorry, not 23, but whatever. Make sure that you don't do the agrees first. Don't do the disagrees first. Make sure you do the strongly agree and disagree first, then disagree, then agree. So you have to do it in that order. All right, so once you get them all converted, once they're all numbered, not before they're all numbers, like these are not all numbers. Once they are all numbers, you want to go in here and you want to convert these to numeric. Okay. Once you've done them all, you can copy that one with Control C, and you can bring these down and Control V. You can change the width to some sort of 8 tends to be the default width. You don't need 8 for most of them, but you can change 1 to 8, copy, drag it down, and change it to 8. I don't know why it didn't do that, but whatever. Change them all to 8. Decimals can remain 0 unless you need a decimal. If any of these names aren't totally clear, so for example, you have agree 1, sorry, agree 1, agree 2, which I kind of like because then in the list they appear together. Your data sets aren't that big, so it doesn't really matter what you call them. But if you decide to call these agree 1, 2, 3, and again, I typically will capitalize the variable name, you can change these to what agreement to, whatever it is, okay? So that when they print out, it will make sense. So this next one can be agreement to, and whatever that is, and then the third one will be agreement to, whatever that is. So remember that when you run things in SPSS, the name of the variable will print unless you have something in the label. So for age, I don't need to put respondent's age. I know what age means. I know what race means. I know what gender means. I know what MAR-stat means because I use it enough. That means marital status. I know what social class means. I know what religion means. But if I named them agree 1, 2, and 3, I wouldn't know what those mean. Okay. You can do the same thing here. You can replace all these with 8s or 7s or some small amount because, again, you don't need very big amounts. You only have 1 digit, and some of them you'll have 2, maybe 3 digits. Here I have 2 digits, right? So they don't need to be very big. Make sure you don't change these to numeric until you've converted everything, because you see now gender's gone away and I can't get it back. I hadn't converted it. And these, I had not converted them to numbers. They've gone away. Okay, so you want to make sure you convert them all first. So once you've done that, save it with your file name and you're good to go.